Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Sebastian from Cinema Fatale, and in this video I'm going to show you a neat little camera trick that you can use right inside mO2. So let's get right into things. We start with an empty motion project, and the first thing we're going to do is click on Add Object, Generators, MotionVFX and mO2. That opens up the mO2 panel. We right click, click Control and go into the builder mode to speed things up. Next we're going to add a model. We'll import it from library because I've already imported the model previously. And the model is a spaceship hallway that you can find for free on Sketchfab, and the link to the model will be in the description below. Next we're going to center the camera, swing it around, and then we're going to take a deep dive right into the hallway, or maybe a bit more. At this point I'm still fiddling with the position to make sure that the camera is roughly on eye level and centered up. Let's say centered up enough. Next I'm opening the model properties, because I would like to change a few things, particularly those lights in the hallway. I would like to give them some illumination, and in the Materials tab I can simply change the color, make them illuminate, and go into beauty mode to see how that is going to look in the final shot. In the scene settings, I'm also going to adjust the environment because, well, right now it is looking a bit bland and I want to add a bit more contrast. So in the CG animated environments, I'm going to click around and pick something. This is going to take a while, but I will simply speed up the footage so you don't have to see the trial and error in real time. Okay, so this is looking good, or let's say good for now, because I will be revising that later. Still not quite happy with the way those lights look, so I'm going to crank up the illuminance and make them really pop. Also in the camera tab, I'm going to adjust the amount of bloom until I find something that really adds to the glow of the scene and makes this look like it's been shot on a vintage lens. In the next step I'm going to rename the default camera to Hitchcock, because the zoom dolly is a move that Hitchcock has used in various films. Perhaps most famously in Vertigo, but it's also been used in The Birds and other films. So the first thing I'm going to do is set keyframes at the start of the timeline for the camera position, and then set keyframes at the end of the timeline for the camera position. Right now I'm overshooting the desired position a bit, but I will adjust that in a second. The thing about the zoom dolly is that it requires the camera operator and the camera assistants to work in unison, so it is quite a difficult move to pull off, and you will in most films see that this has been used rather gently. So while the camera is being pushed forward on the dolly, the camera assistants will readjust the focal length on a zoom lens and then adjust focus accordingly, and we are going to do all that right in mO2. So right now I am changing the field of view, which acts as a focal length for the shot. I've used this specific hallway because the vertical lines make it rather easy to assess how far you are moving, because the effect you want to achieve is to give the audience the illusion that the camera doesn't in fact move at all. This is the kind of effect this is going for. It makes everything slightly wobbly and rather rubbery. And while I'm at it, I've just discovered these vertical lights, and I'm also going to give them illuminance and adjust the color to make for a more pleasing overall experience. Okay, so this isn't looking too bad. The camera looks like it's moving slightly. Turning on beauty mode to see how things are coming along, and yes, everything looks like it's made out of rubber. This is looking cool. But why settle for cool when you can have cooler? Because the zoom dolly effect looks nice on just a background, but it looks even better if we add a bit of foreground. And for that I'm going to import yet another 3D model, and I will simply settle for one of the primitives the sphere, because, well, it's nice and well-rounded. Obviously, because we are right in the hallway, the sphere is in the middle of nowhere, so let's adjust its position by eye first, push it into the hallway, and because this good sphere is such a big boy, we obviously have to reduce its radius. But even already, this isn't looking too bad. Let's get back into builder mode and reduce the scale of our sphere right in the radius property. We'll also move this sphere closer to the camera to make sure it's really affected by the dolly zoom move. Next up, we're going to adjust its position to make sure it is on our eye level, because normally that is a shot that would be used on a person in the foreground, potentially even Roy Scheider in Jaws. Next, we are going to add a surface material to our sphere. Flesh I find is looking a bit icky, so let's just try the reptile scales. Yep, that's nice, adding a bit of depth and adding to our overall scene. Maybe it's an alien sphere in the middle of this spaceship hallway. Okay, not looking too bad, really. Let's move our sphere even closer to, well, it's a bit close maybe, even closer to our camera and see where things are going. Okay, this is starting to take shape. But yet again, I think we can make this cooler and even more disorienting. So right now what I'm doing is cranking up the focus amount, and as you can see, right now nothing's in focus. This is how the first shot should look. And this is how it should look near the end. Okay, so all that's left to do is simply keyframe the focus. Once again, mO2 makes this really simple. In the depth of field tab, we can set keyframes for the focus distance. So let's set a keyframe on our first frame. Let's cherry pick our focus, move on to the last frame, and pick our focus yet again. And if we now play back the entire scene, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to do a RAM preview first because I'm running this on an old machine. But as you can see, yeah, this is looking quite nice already. So let's do one more quick adjustment, because I think in the end, or 3/4 through the video, the camera loses focus a bit. Let's set another keyframe right there. So we have the focus. I was initially going to set another keyframe there, but I actually quite like the camera losing the focus for a brief moment there. It really adds to the disorienting effect of the shot. Let's do another RAM preview and see how things look. Just like I imagined in my head. Okay, it's all looking good. Now I just want to dial in the final look. I'm not quite happy with the way the environment looks. Happy with the environment I chose, but I think if we dial down the brightness and gamma a bit, we can add a bit more drama to the shot. And if nothing else, this shot screams drama. Much better. Now to finalize the look, I'm going to select the entire group and add a color wheels filter just to reduce the contrast a bit. I find that makes a better baseline for our final step, where I'll be using mLut to add a custom lookup table. Again, I probably should have made up my mind which LUT I'm going to use before I start recording this tutorial, but now you can watch me fail in real time, even though I am going to cheat and speed it up. If nothing else, this proves always go with your first instinct. So let's take a look at the final shot. Okay, I think this is looking pretty solid. But the camera losing focus halfway through the shot has just given me another idea. So let's add to the disorienting effect of the shot by having the camera rotate around its axis. Here's a neat little trick. If you, just like me, can never remember which axis to turn the camera around, just try them all out. Because the correct answer is never your first or your second choice, it's always the third one. So let's keyframe the Z rotation, but just slightly. This really makes the shot far more nauseating, even though the movement is quite gentle. Well, and there you have it. This is our final shot. So thank you guys for watching, and if you want to see more content, please like and subscribe, and I'm also really looking forward to hearing more from you down in the comments below. This was Sebastian with Cinema Fatale, and I'll be seeing and hearing you in the next video. Well, I mean, you will be seeing and hearing me. Bye!